Hey there, viewers. Welcome back to the Self-Made Auto Channel. Got us an 07 Toyota. It's the Camry. We have a list. Andy writes, Dear Eric, my new to me 2007 Toyota Camry has dash problems. If the ABS and brake light are lit, the needle on the temp gauge swings up and down, the tach needle swings up and down, and the speedometer does not work. The lights on the Prindle wink on and off. If the ABS and brake light are off, everything works properly. Fix it if you can. That's it. That's where we're at. I drove the car. Initially, everything seemed fine. Dash worked as it should. All the gauges work. Car runs and drives good. A lot of miles on it. 260, I think, 260K. So, and obviously it's had something happen here in the front end, so we have to keep that in mind as well. And then about 5 minutes into the test drive, went out around, tooting around, checking on things, and the dash quit. And what he's talking about is the gauges start flickering up and down, everything drops out, speedometer quits completely, the tachometer, goes from 0 to wherever RPM you're at that moment, and the temperature gauge as well goes from normal to 0 and just, keeps turning on and off, so to speak. And then the ABS and brake light do come on. And the Prindle display winks. So he's right, exactly as described in the letter. That's exactly what happened. I've got the Altel plugged into it. We're gonna see what's going on there. Let me fire it up and see if it's still doing it. Hopefully it is. And then we'll see what we can do to figure it out. I had shut it off and started it a couple times and it was still doing it. Let's see if it, yeah, so it looks like it's still broken here. Tach portion of it. ABS and brake light are on. If I were to drive it, the speedometer would not function. Now I see the Prindle display is saying lit and the temp gauge is staying steady, but this is what it does. I don't ever recall seeing the fuel gauge drop out, so I don't know if that's a clue or not. That's what it does, folks. I don't know if this body work is going to be any clue for us or not. If something over here has been whacked or whatever. Step one, though, plug your ears. Josh, he's got out the air hammer. We're going to get a maintainer on it here so our battery doesn't die on it. In case this gets involved. I assume we're dealing with some kind of communication issue, the way that thing's dropping. That's just my guess. Alright, let's see, we'll get a pointing apparatus here. We'll go with Toyota. Alright, pulled the VIN out of it, so that's a good thing. Too much glare on that screen for you guys. It's a 07. We'll go Kentucky. I don't know if it makes a big difference right now, but if we get this where there's no glare, there we go, it's a little better anyways, right? Let this little guy get loaded up and we'll see, we'll do a full system scan on it here. All right, we got one code so far in the ABS. That's interesting. The car doesn't have a body module. Don't work on a ton of Toyotas, so I'm not super familiar with them. All right, so it looks like we have one code. Hopefully this gives us some direction. Control module communication bus off. All right, well, tell you what, let me, that's interesting. Let me start it up. That it's like communication there. That's interesting. Well, I might have to look into this. Might have to pause it. I'm gonna go ahead and start it up. I want to make sure it's still doing its thing, and then scan it again. It is still broken. So I want to make sure there's no difference here, running versus key on, engine off, or anything like that. Sometimes that kind of stuff makes a difference, but sometimes not. Oh, sounds like it's gonna stall. Well, there you go, just pick back up. Oh, That's weird. Let me just scan that again. It shows there, they're lit up gray. Yeah, look at that. It sounds like it's gonna die over there. So this is interesting. Now, how come none of these modules are saying, hey, we can't talk to these guys? Is it true? Can we really not talk to the ECM? Huh, okay. Can't talk to the ECM. Can't talk to the ABS. Well, this is kind of bizarre. Wouldn't you think that? Well, I'm not sure how it's wired. You know, obviously this network diagram here doesn't really represent exactly how it's wired. But you would think that, like, the instrument cluster would be mad saying, hey, we can't talk. Just make sure this thing's actually... Huh, okay, well, that's kind of bizarre. Let me just do a key on engine off again, just see if this is the difference. Alright, so we just shut the car off as all, left the key on. I almost didn't expect to find anything different, just doing our deal here. Oh, look at that, we got our ECM back. So that's interesting, okay. And we got this, what's this CRC, what's that? What module's that? Cruise control, so we got our cruise module back. I don't remember what else was lit up. But interesting, we got the ECM back with no code in it. So sometimes gathering these little clues can be helpful, you know, like, hey, you know, because obviously the car starts and runs. I'm going to start it back up and see if it knocks this ECM offline again, which is kind of weird. But we're just going to gather this little bit of data here. You know, maybe we have an ABS module that's just going wonky in it. Okay, so we see how many models did we scan there? We got 3, 6, 7, 8. Let me just start it up again. See right now, the ABS and brake light weren't on. Look at that. Now our ABS module's back in business here. Okay, so this might be a big clue for us. That's kind of curious. Oh, look at that. Now we've got a body mod. I don't think we had, man, I meant to look back through my footage. I don't think we had a body module, because now we have what, 3, 6, 9, 10. We have 2 extra modules here. So this is interesting. This is a scan without it being broken. Oops. I want to show you my secret phone code here. I'm going to do this. I could take a screenshot, but I do this with my cell phone because it's easier to just whip out of your pocket and see where you're at here. All right, very interesting. So it does appear that there's some weird network business going on here. I'm gonna take a peek in there. I want to see if it's broke. I don't believe it. I doubt it is right now. All right. Okay, good to know. So we're learning stuff. Got 10 modules there that are communicating. Theft deterrent, accessory gateway, sliding roof, and driver door motor. What about this? What does the data network here look like on 6 and 14? Just out of curiosity. All right, I mean, from, you know, just a quick glance here, that appears to be normal. 2.5 to 1.5 volts. Can high should be 2.5 to 3.5. And it is, roughly looking at it, you can see the messages don't look Just at a glance, I'm not a network guy, but they don't look abnormal. Looks like ones and zeros to me. Interesting. Okay. Now we've got to wait for it to break. I'm gonna jot some stuff down here, folks, and see what we see. Now that we've got a little bit of knowledge here, I'm gonna kind of keep track of who's working and who's not when it's broke, and go from there. We'll be right back. I'm sitting here making myself some notes, waiting for the car to goof up, and it just goofed up again. I want to do one thing while it's goofed up. I just want to verify that it is goofed up. Okay, so it is goofed up. Yes, we want to exit because I want to look at this network while it's being ridiculous to see if anything funky is happening here. So got a blinky light. Oh, that ain't right. I don't know much, but I know that. That ain't right. That's ones and zeros and what the world's. Okay, so there is definitely something going screwy here with the data network, 100%. Can I tell you what, based on this? I can't. I'm not that good. Just look at this and be like, oh, you're in data network. I can tell you right now, that's not a good CAN signal. Let me shut it off. Okay, we're shutting her down. We're key on, engine off at this point. Okay, and it's still screwy, like 100%. You are 100% screwy. That ain't good, old son. But it's interesting, as crappy as this network is, that the car will start without an issue here. Alright, so that's kind of weird. Let's have whatever it needs to make it run. That's for sure. Alright, well, let's back out of here and let's talk about what we know and come up with our next step. While we were waiting for it to goof up there, and I was trying to come up with a plan, I didn't know if it was heat related because it had been sitting here running for a while and wasn't goofing up, so I rolled the window back up and closed the hood down here and took the maintainer off it, because I don't know if it's, heat related or not, so it's good practice just to kind of keep that stuff in mind. It didn't initially act up when it was cold when I went on a test drive, but it did after I drove it, so that could tell you, heat, vibration, if we're dealing with a wiring rubbing through here or something, which I don't think so. Looking at that CAN waveform there, I don't think, we're not looking for a network that's shorted out. Let's figure this out, folks. Let me show you what I know. I'm gonna come clean and be real honest with you. I'm not feeling real savvy today. I don't know what that means. I just don't feel very intelligent. I don't feel like working on a car, and I don't feel like making a video. I just don't feel like my mind's in the right spot. But life sucks, pal. Get past it, because it's your job, and we got to get this done. This is when the car is functioning. I printed this out so I could make some notes on it. I'm a big paper guy, not a big screenshot digital guy. So I printed this out. This appears to be when everything's working. Now, when it doesn't work, or when it does work, our data network we know looks normal. When it doesn't work, it's got a goofy looking pattern. We're not going to get too in depth into that. It doesn't look right. Something's not right. And it's not just shorted to power or shorted to ground. They don't look like they're shorted to each other. Just at a glance, I'm just talking out loud here. When it doesn't work, the car still starts and runs, which is kind of wild. But we lose this module here, the cruise module. We lose the body module, we lose the brake module, we lose the ABS module. And by lose them, I mean we lose the ability to talk to them with a scan tool. However, the car still starts and runs. The functions of these units still work. I don't know if the cruise still works, I take that back, but it seems the body functions still work, the ECM still works because it, runs. ABS, I don't know. We didn't go out and do any skids, but it's just kind of bizarre. So that's what we know. Those are the 4 modules: ABS, ECM, body module, and cruise control. Those are the ones that quit, and we have one code stored in it, which is our U0073. At this point, I need to gather some information. I need to see how this network is hooked together, if it's a ring or a star configuration or what it is, and then come up with an idea or a sort of a plan that we can do, that we can go through and plan and work the plan and come up with some kind of test and then go from there. So you folks stand by, I'll see what we see. So I'm just looking at use your words, man. Data network, computer data line network. Gosh. So here's our data link connector. We're working on pins 6 and 14. So we have CAN low, we have CAN high, we have white wires and black wires. And they go to, on this style, they go to these combs, I guess they will, or junctions. I don't know what the actual technical name for Toyota is. But each module has its 2 wires, and it goes, to this junction or to a comb, I guess we would refer to them. So we got the steering column, airbag, yaw rate, combination meter, main body ECU, which has a couple different cans, data networks going to it. But then they all go to a central, dongle where they all hook together. And then from there, they go to the data link connector. So just looking at this, there's other junctions, 40 and 41, right side of dash. You know what? I think we ran across this on a Toyota video we did. Remember a mouse got in there and chewed up. The lady lost her cluster. And we chased it down to one of these connections because we ended up bypassing it, if I remember right. Engine control module has a couple different data networks on it here as well. It talks directly to the ECU or to the training module. But I think primarily right now we're going to focus on the CAN high and CAN low. And I'm just curious, I don't know what I think. Let me give you my thoughts. Let me unenhance. What I think, even though you can't see my face, you can see my wavy hand. I suspect we have a module that's going wonky, just based on what it's doing and the fact that it's kind of intermittent here. I don't know if it would be best to find this connection here because it appears that it's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plugs. I guess it would be 7 different connectors, and then we could isolate network issues there, perhaps. I'm suspicious a little bit of this. The ABS module is the only one throwing a code in it, that U0073. Sometimes when we do this, what we'll do, we'll go right to the suspect module. Now, unplugging the module obviously unplugs everything. If we go here, we just isolate the data network, and I don't know which is easier to do because it just says JC43 with a 2.4 liter center of dash. It just says center of dash. We would have to look on a wiring diagram. I think what we'll do, let me look. I don't know. The ABS module is right over there on the passenger side. Perhaps what we could do, because the car will start and run without that, maybe we'll just take a little shot in the dark here, fire it up, get it frigged up, and then unplug the ABS module, and then at that point, maybe we'll win. If not, we're going to have to go to, probably find one of these junctions if they're easy to get to, see if we can't isolate the network to find out, is it an actual module that's doing this, or do we have to do something else? Let's see here. Let me I'm gonna get this loaded back up. It looks like it was still being stupid on the dash, so hopefully with a little bit of luck here, it'll stay acting up. Gonna do a scan on it, see if these modules are talking. I guess, oh, nope, they're not. So we're grayed out. So what we can do, shut this off. skip out of here. Let's go right back to where we were. See what this data network looks like. Like I say, ABS module lives right there. It's a big fat poke and hope shot in the dark here. I don't know why this isn't working. Come on, Alto, we need you. Okay, there we go. Ah, dang it all to heck. Now it looks like we're working. I think. No, we're not. It's not broke as bad as it was, but these definitely aren't data packets coming across the screen here. Let me look inside the car here, folks. Yeah, it's still screwed up in the car. Like I said, this is not normal looking data packets coming across here. So let's just set this where we can see it. Let me get a light. Let's do it without chopping our fingers off. Oh, something happened. That's kind of normal or looking now. Are you guys with me? Let me get a trigger up here so we can hold this thing still. Hold still, man. Alright, so now we got a normal looking data packet there. Let me just plug that back in, make sure it wasn't just a coincidence. Oh yeah, look at that. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. Data's all messed up. Let's unplug it. Make sure we weren't double lucky. Wow. Look at this guy. Unplugged. Wow. Let's go back in. Let's go to our history. Let's select our car. And we're gonna try to do something. We're gonna scan it, see if our ECM comes back, body module, see if everybody comes back except for the ABS, which is what we would expect. Look at that. Cluster's probably gonna have a problem now. Well, I mean, it's got a code in it. Probably loss of comm with ABS module would be my assumption. Oh, dang it. I didn't want to hit that button. Good thing I didn't. Lost comm with ABS module. What do you know? Alright. So we know with it unplugged, things work. I'm going to plug it back in. Let's read codes out of the game. Great. Unplug it, plug it in, now it freaking works. What do you know? Let me just look on the dash. Wow, actually we can just... Yeah, the way the cookie crumbles. Let it get hooked back up here. Yeah, so now we have good. Unplugging it and plugging it back in. Now we have good action. Now we gotta wait for it to break again. Because we want to verify. Oh, there we go. All I did was wiggle on it here. Oh yeah, no kidding, huh? Oh, idiot. Use your freaking eyeballs there, mister. Oh, thing's got a giant ass hole in front of it. That's your problem, lady. You got a freaking hole in front of your ABS module. Okay. This ding dong. Yeah, so it's got a whole bunch of corrosion and stuff. I'm over here tweaking on this thing. When I tweak on it, the network kind of gets a glitch there. Oh, there we go. So all I'm doing is just, flexing, holding the connector in and just kind of flexing the module like this. Yeah, the network's kind of coming and going. Okay, all right, well, we don't have to look any further. visual inspection would have won this one. So it must be when it was in the wreck. Alright, well. Kind of stupid video. That's what it is. Well, that was kind of silly, folks. Should have put on my glasses. I could see a giant hole in it. In either case, we were in the right direction, right? Anyhow. I was just looking in service data. It does not look like that needs to be programmed. You don't always swap it out. You have to replace it. Of course, bleed out all the brakes and everything if you're changing the whole hydraulic control unit. And then perform a yaw rate sensor 0-point calibration. Inspect it with a intelligent tester, and then clear the codes. So seems pretty easy. Doesn't store any VIN information in it apparently. So that's good. That'll make it easy. Might not even post this video, like I said. I'm just not feeling right today. Sometimes I don't feel good in my feelings, and today's one of those days. But we got to the bottom of it. I'm gonna check and see. Sometimes, I don't know, I've never done one of these, but I've done them, a lot of General Motors, obviously, because that's our primary model that we work on, or make that we work on. And on those, oftentimes, we will swap just the electric module portion off the hydraulic control unit. This one appears to be held on with bolts, so perhaps we can do that too, in which case we can just get a used unit, unbolt it, bolt it on, and then not have to mess with the hydraulic assembly, which is ideal, especially in New York, because you start messing with hydraulic assembly, those lines will come unhooked, but now you're underneath it, do the bleeders come loose, and blah, blah, blah. Yada, 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 da, 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 whatever, whatever. I think are all the sayings that everybody says. Comment section, folks, in case I do decide to put this out. Insta, all the stuff. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.